Greetings, welcome to Chaotic Beagle Entertainment. I am your host, Chaos, as always. Thank you guys for joining us today. Today we also have a lovely special guest, Mrs. Chaos. She is going to, we're just basically going to talk real quick. Recently, almost 8 weeks ago, had the birth of our first daughter, and one point I kind of noticed she watches a lot of videos from the female perspective on a number of different topics. One being that our child was born with the assistance of IVF, and don't really see a lot of dad perspectives on it, so figured she had the great idea. She's like, why not do it from the dad side? And I was like, why not? So that is what this video series is going to be on. We have a number of different things. We're probably going to cut this up into probably 4 or 5 different videos, keep them a good, short time, so they're good and edible, good and viewable there. So yeah, cool. So originally this whole process started back in 2021. Her and I have been together since 2018. Wildly enough, we met off of the dating site Bumble. She swiped, I swiped, and it kind of just worked out from there. But 2021, we decided to see about having our own children. We both talked it out and agreed on it, and we started working towards that. Both of us being of a more advanced age.
We're old.
Yeah. If you don't notice, that's the little one down there now. She was late 30s at the time. I'm early 40s at the time. So with that being the case, we're going to need a little bit of assistance. We did try for a while on our own. It did not work out, so we ended up looking for assistance through the Kentucky Fertility Institute. The first process we worked with them, we tried the IUI, which I'm not sure what that stands for. It's
intrauterine insemination.
There you go. She knows it. She's the nurse. She knows all that. So going through that process, we did 3 attempts. With those attempts, we did a number of different things. On my side, I basically had to, whenever she was in ovulation mode, I had to go and do a sperm sample. I had to drive it up and drop it off to them. I think there was a specimen that I had to give them. I don't think I had to add anything to it. No, that was something else. But so basically had to drive it up to the institute, drop it off to them, and then they would handle the rest of the process from there. They would, process it, prep it, get it ready to go, and then she would have to go up there later to do the IUI transfer, and then we would have to wait, I think it was 5 days? I'm not...
I feel like it was longer than that.
It was longer than that?
I think it was like a week.
Maybe 5 to 7 days.
I could test after, I think, 7, but I think we had to wait for the full 14 days.
Okay. Yeah, so we had to wait probably 7 to 14 days to
see if I got a period.
See if she had a period and basically figure out if it was a successful IUI transfer. After some testing and going to
Are you going to talk about that specifically?
Huh?
We're talking about that specifically, those meds and whatnot?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I did some testing with urology and a few other things to find that I had low testosterone. Not bad, but it was low. Had low specimen counts, a number of different things. So tried a few meds. Clomid was one that I tried. Also tried, C vitamins, ashwagandha, she had picked up some fertility pills from Amazon that were supposed to also assist with that.
Well, they were recommended by the urologist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I didn't just go searching.
No, well, you got them from Amazon, but because no one locally had them.
No, but the urologist recommended that.
Yeah, urologist recommended those fertility pills, C vitamins, ashwagandha. The urologist prescribed the Clomid. It was something else. Oh, zinc and magnesium. So zinc, magnesium, tried all those, and after some other tests, I was able to get my specimen counts and my testosterone up higher to where it would be acceptable to attempt the IUI transfers. So worked on those. A few different things that took place with the IUI. We also figured out that she has PCOS, which is another condition that affects ovulation windows and some of the other.
So essentially, you don't ovulate every month. Most of the time, you have like a 28-ish day cycle. But a lot of times, people with PCOS will have irregular cycles, or they'll have a regular cycle, but they won't actually ovulate as often.
Yeah. So with that,
a lot of other stuff goes along with that, but that's essentially what
the shorthand of it. So, go ahead and grab her. So with that, my low specimen counts and a few different things. The 3 attempts with the IUI were all unsuccessful attempts. I believe about that time period, what was it, in May? Let me see. Got some notes here. You know, we were trying to catch her on our ovulation cycles, and then once we did the transfers, we had to wait to see if she had a period. If she did, unsuccessful again. May was 2 follicles.
Yeah, May I did letrozole or Femera, and I had 2 follicles from that.
Yeah.
Which was, I thought that was the nicer of the medicines that they gave me.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the other ones, she, in, let me see, June, she did Clomid. They also prescribed her Clomid. She ended up having multiple side effects with that one. So that one was not a pleasant transfer attempt for her on that end. My end was pretty much the same thing. You know, try to catch her cycle, and then I have to drop it off. But
I did still get 3 follicles. I got 3 follicles on Clomid.
Yeah, she got 3 follicles, but it
was not a fun time.
Yeah, she had a lot of side effects, a lot of issues. July, we ended up trying again in 2022. She ended up having 2 follicles. No major side effects because I think they tried a different medication.
Letrozole again. It was just a higher dose.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. A few things we also tried that we think helped out in the long run was doing low carb. We switched to doing like low carb meals, you know, pretty much across the day. That seemed to help and bring up numbers and bring up stats. They just were not brought up so high that we were getting a successful, you know, interaction there. So. Yeah.
With PCOS, we have issues sometimes with blood sugar and insulin levels, so I was hoping that the low carb, the less carbs you bring in, the more carbs that you're using, that would help balance out those numbers.
Yeah. A number of other things that also can affect the transfers are also stress. Stress is a heavy a heavy related item that can prevent the adherence of any of the follicles or eggs on urine walls and things. So at that point, she was working multiple jobs. She was teaching nursing at the same time as doing nursing. And then she ended up quitting in August, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She quit from one teaching job in August. that ended up, bringing stress levels down just naturally because not as much to have to deal with, not as much to have to keep up with.
I took a full-time, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I took a full-time nursing contract. So I wasn't teaching full-time anymore. Instead of just working weekends kind of as needed, I just picked up I think it was still part-time, but a part-time nursing contract.
Yep. Yeah, she was doing part-time with, it was a...
nursing agency.
Nursing agency. So, that was August 22 that started taking place. We, at that point, after those three failed attempts, we went ahead and decided to try the full-on IVF process. So we did start, we spoke with the primary doctor at KFI and basically told him we want to start that process. He ended up going and giving us what we need as far as guidelines and timetables to get that process started, which the first part of that process is egg retrieval. So
how did you feel about the IUI?
The IUI,
'cause it's easy on your end.
Yeah, the IUI, there wasn't a lot of involvement on my side. It's, basically, I had to watch quite a few videos to just get an idea of what I could do on the general daily sense to increase my specimen numbers, increase testosterone, increase, just any of those stats. That was really about the only thing I had to do. I was going on walks around the neighborhood while you were at work.
'Cause you have a sit-down job, which...
Yeah. I was working as a, actually, at that time I was working as a supervisor for a pharmaceutical call center. I had numerous agents. I had some of the best agents you could ever find. But it wasn't the stress of that. It was just, I had a lot of hats. I did a lot of things. I did a lot of quality assurance. I did a lot of reporting. I worked with our IT groups to do deployments. I worked the later shift as well. Mm-hmm. So I was working until, I think, 6, 7 at night? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 6, 7 at night. I was working till, and I had to close up the building and make sure everybody was out and make sure all my agents were solid. Basically, no, it was 8 o'clock. I think. I want to say it was 8 o'clock. So, yeah, I want to say it was 8 o'clock. I think we closed up, shut off phones, all that kind of deal. So that was part of it. There really wasn't involvement on my end. I would go for walks and listen to a bunch of videos and had, increased testosterone and what I could do and eat more meats and this and that. Mainly, the supplements, I think, helped a great deal. The fertility pills that they suggested were a big thing. The Clomid helped. Just a lot of changes there. Just getting more active. A lot of that kind of stuff, especially for somebody that had a sedentary job at the time. Let me see. We started the IVF process around the end of August. Mm-hmm. And that was
expensive.
Very pricey process. Very pricey process. But yeah. That's all for the IUI part. So next, we will talk on retrieval, and that'll be what we get across from today. Next one, we will talk about the actual transfers and everything. But
before we go there, IUIs were not bad, I didn't think.
Yeah, the IUI was not.
It was just the weird side effect from the meds.
Yeah.
Because even though letrozole was easy, I still had hot flashes.
Yeah. It was...
But it was the easier of the meds. Clomid was just miserable.
Yeah. And I think just with that, on the meds that they were giving you on top of, the stress you had from, you were working as a nurse, 12-hour days, and then you were doing clinicals, and you were doing class teaching. Mm-hmm. So you basically had, 3 separate jobs that you were doing at the time that I think just put a lot of stress, and that stress can mess with hormones, it can mess with body chemistry. So that, I think, made it a little bit more difficult, but not that bad. IUI was a pretty straightforward, simple process.
I was just disappointed.
Yeah, I wish that it would have worked. And then, because really the only stressful part on my end was you've got to be abstinent for so many days. And then when you go to get the specimen, you got to basically rush it up there, and they're all the way on the other side of town. So I basically had to, 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, buzz my little self up there to drop off the specimen so that they could get it on dry ice, get it frozen up or whatever they need to prep. Yeah, they prep and process it, but then they got to ship it out to get it checked and tested to see if it's got enough specimens to be usable, and then they have to get the results back, which I think took 3 days for them to, because I think they overnighted it. I'm pretty sure they overnighted it. Get it processed that day, get it out, and then get everything back to, check the numbers and everything. And then once they get the numbers back, if it's usable, they would process it, contact her, and then she would go up to receive that transfer.
Yeah, and the timing was nice because everything starts on cycle day 1 or the first day of your period. So then you take the meds a certain number of days to start on a certain day that they tell you to. So I think it's usually day 3 or day 5. And then you take them for like 5 days, and then that way they can time it, and you can time the ultrasounds. That was just the hardest part, is getting up there for ultrasounds. So they knew exactly when to get the sample from him and when to, I guess, do my part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you going, girl?
But otherwise, not bad on the IUI side. Just wished it would have been, successful. The next thing for this one that we're going to talk about is we ended up having to do, the first item for doing an IVF is egg retrieval. This is a very, very rough one for the ladies. My part was not too difficult.
You had to give me shots.
Yeah, I did not enjoy giving you those shots. Really did not enjoy giving you those shots. I'm a very empathetic kind of person. I may not seem it, but I am. But having to give her shots with these like 2-inch long needles, I may be exaggerating. I don't know, but they are not even.
You agree?
They're not subcutaneous. They are not upper layer. No, there was
two
one.
of those. Yeah, the one. But 2 of them were sub-Q. They were my belly.
A couple of them are sub-Q. She can handle those. She can do those.
I didn't though.
I did them just to put it on my plate. Those can be done, but yeah, baby girl. Some of those meds are easy to administer, but there's one that required a needle that was 2 inches long, and I did not enjoy doing that one because that one caused a lot of bruising on her end. So basically, with the retrieval process, it's a 10-day process.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Same kind of thing though. Like you still, you're on birth control for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think. Ma'am.
Let me hold.
Thanks.
Like she was responding.
Ma'am.
Let me see.
Do this. Go to daddy. You start birth control, and the birth control is to stop all hormones, like all of your natural hormones, because they're trying to manipulate your cycle. So you start birth control, and that was not fun. I feel like I had a bunch of, I don't like birth control. I had a bunch of side effects from that. And then you have an ultrasound, you have a lot of blood work, and they kind of plan your 10-day process from there. So then you do the 10 days of shots.
Yeah. So with this, you have trigger shots. We had Lupron.
And that's after the 10 days.
Yeah, that was after the 10 days. Menopur. Gonal F. Centratide, which was added because there were so many to start on early.
Yeah. So essentially, the gonal F is like human growth hormone-ish, I think, or it's a gonadotropin of some kind, and then you have Menopur, and both of those are to stimulate follicle growth. So you want as many follicles as you can get. And then after a couple days, you go in every other day for an ultrasound. I was working nights at this time, so then I went in the morning after work. I would go straight from work into the fertility clinic and have an ultrasound, and then they would adjust the medicines accordingly. And at that point, they added Centratide, I think you said?
Yeah, Centratide.
That was added because I had a lot of follicles and they were different sizes, and you want them all to mature at this roughly the same rate. You don't want some to mature and ovulate before the other ones get a chance. Yeah. So those shots were done at 6 p.m. So he would give me the injections and I would go into work after that, and they always gave me a headache every single time.
Yeah. I was gonna say they gave you horrible headaches. Like some of the headaches that they would give her, we'd have to go and basically black out a room, shut all the windows. We've got some blackout blinds back here, so you can make this just dark as can be. That's some of the process we had to go through because it just gave her. I mean, it was almost debilitating headaches the way that some of those meds were reacting and giving her. But we ended up getting through that process.
I ruined a lot of evenings because we would plan on watching something on TV, and I would feel too horrible to even be able to sit through the TV episode, and so I ruined a lot. I felt really bad.
I was fine with it, whatever's needed. But she, through that process, I did notice that she was getting very bloated. She almost looked like second trimester pregnant like size because of the expanding follicles that are basically growing to mature size to as if they were going to drop for to possibly get inseminated. She had a lot of bloating, a lot of increased body size. So that was part of it. She looked pregnant, basically, once we got to a certain point in that process. They did give her, in this process, they did give her steroids and antibiotics to assist with making sure that nothing went wrong. But taking those were just heavy on her stomach. She was already taking so many other medications that they made her real nauseous. And, excuse me. They made her real nauseous and just, she was already having headaches, a lot of really bad headaches. Now she's got a bunch of nausea on top of it.
You just can't eat. There's no room for food, and you just feel too sick to eat.
Yeah. And then what was
And the antibiotics are for the transfer, so because they don't want you to get a weird infection.
Yeah. Giving those meds to her was not fun. Basically, she had to wake me up, early morning to give her the injections, and I think those had to be.
That was for the transfer, though.
Was that for the transfer?
That was progesterone. These were the ones I did in the evening.
Yeah.
And then you would send me off with my headache to work.
Yeah.
Or if I was off, I would just lay in the bathroom floor.
Yeah, those were.
And you'd bring me water.
And it was kind of funny because, some of those meds, the way you, mix them up, I had to take a liquid and add it to this powder and then shake that up with one syringe needle and then take that syringe needle off, put another needle on to actually draw it out and then give her that shot. And then there was a lot. I had to remember, a lot I had to memorize to give her these injections. Didn't enjoy that part at all. It wasn't hard, but it was just, making sure that I had those ready because the other part was some of those meds were stored in the fridge. Well, then I had to warm them up. So I'm over here, just warming them up and holding them, underneath my armpit and this and that, and trying to make them a little easier to administer. So, that was. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. It wasn't fun.
It was bad for at the time. We didn't know what was coming, so at the time it felt
Yeah, it felt horrible. It felt rough.
We didn't know about the transfer meds.
Yeah, transfer though. That's going to be in the next video. Transfer was awful. That'll be the next one.
But I would do a transfer again before I would do another egg retrieval.
Yeah. Yeah, egg retrieval was just rough. As we're going through, we did the 10 days of meds, and then after the 10 days, we had to start other medications. Once it came to actual retrieval time, I think they went in and did a saline ultrasound.
Yeah.
That was another one that was not fun.
And we were still in 2020 precautions, so I had to go by myself for all these appointments. You couldn't come.
Yeah, that was the other thing. This was just before they released the COVID limitations on, how many people can go to an office, who can go where, and if you could wear masks and everything. That was during this time period. So we're still limited on what we can do. I couldn't even go in for, the IUI transfers, I couldn't go in for.
No.
I would have loved to have been there with her, but I couldn't. I couldn't go in. So I was like, well, this sucks.
You just sit in a room by yourself. And I think I would text you, but
yeah,
it's kind of weird. I know.
Yeah, we would text each other or video chat just back and forth until they came in to handle it. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll see you when you get home.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this is Infertility Awareness Week, and one of the memes I saw said that it's just a lonely process, but I feel 2020, 2021, that was still a super lonely time because you're just sitting in the room by yourself.
Yeah.
And your support person isn't there.
When it came time to actually pull those eggs, they had to do the saline ultrasound, see how many there were.
The saline ultrasound was to map my uterus.
Okay.
But they did an internal ultrasound to do the eggs, and that was every other day. And they did a saline ultrasound after. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. And then when it came time to actually pull the eggs, again, she's watched a lot of videos, and I've watched them with her, on a lot of different couples, a lot of different families that are going through IVF process, IUIs, and different stuff. We were kind of expecting one thing, but then, we were like, we'll get maybe 10 or 12 eggs, something like that. And then, it might boil down to where we had 1 or 2 good ones. Yeah, we are, again, advanced couple, but, so when they went and did the actual retrieval, they pulled 42 full-size follicles that were actually usable. Of the 42, I think they ended up scrubbing those and came down to 19. And
that
then
were mature and able to be fertilized.
Yeah, 19 that were full-grown size that could actually be utilized. I think, did we genetic test all 19?
No, because all of them didn't make it to day 5.
That's what it was. So they inseminated those, and the ones that made it to day 5, there were 9 of those.
But the day of the retrieval, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that was
a horrible headache.
Yeah.
That morning. And I think, did you come back? Were you able to come back with me?
No.
Or did you just come back
No, I had to sit out front. I still could not go back. I went there with you. I had to sit up front and just wait.
Yeah, so I'm sitting back there myself with anesthesia, and they're going over everything, but you're supposed to remember a ton of stuff, and I don't. But talked to the embryologist, Paige, and I talked to the anesthesiologist, and my nurse, Jill. I got my IV. I mentioned that, hey, so when this is all over, what can I take for this migraine? And anesthesia is I got you. And she did. She took care of it with her meds, and then you walk back to the room. But still, everyone that I watched had people walk back with them, and I didn't have anyone, so I had to walk back by myself. I think you were someplace else. I
was in the waiting room.
Yeah, and then you go back and you hop on the table of this cold room, and then they start giving you your medicine as they're talking to you. But then I'm a lightweight, so then I don't remember. I remember them saying, "Can you move your leg up here?" But I don't think I moved it. I think I just went to sleep.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting there, I'm basically just the Uber to get there. It was nothing I could do. I hated it. I would have loved to have been back there, but there was nothing I could do on it.
But I woke up and you were next to me.
Yeah. In the recovery after they got it, I was with you there. And then they gave me the lowdown. They were like, hey, make sure this, make sure that,
Because they were worried about, because I had so many and I was on the cabergoline.
Yeah, cabergoline.
I don't know how to say it.
Cabergoline.
That's not my area of nursing, obviously. So they were worried about OHSS.
Yeah.
So it's a ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds right. Where you have so many eggs and they remove so many eggs, it causes like a fluid and electrolyte shift. And so all of those follicles are now open and they leak. And if you think about like any time during your period, you kind of get a little bit of swollen from just hormones. Well, that's like an influx of a ton of hormones. So they've kind of manipulated. So they're worried about you having so much swelling that it drops your blood pressure and causes other issues. So I was on that medicine to hopefully prevent that. And then I think we went and got like Chick-fil-A or something.
No, we went to P.F. Chang's.
Chinese. We got Chinese. I needed something salty to keep that fluid from go into my abdominal cavity and staying where it needed to be in my vessels.
Yeah. So that day we went all out at a local P.F. Chang's, which their chain. They should be. Yeah.
And by we, he means him, because I went home and went to bed.
Yeah. She came home. I let her, get comfy clothes. She went and laid down. And I just went and got a whole bunch of shrimp fried rice and sweet and sour chicken and General Tso's chicken, sweet and sour pork, egg rolls. I just went to the nines. I was like, I don't care.
So good.
So good. But yeah, so we went and loaded up on P.F. Chang's. I brought it home. We sat and watched, oh man, what did we watch? We watched a movie. We watched some sort of movie. She probably doesn't remember. I don't think I remember off the top of my head, but I want to say it might have been a superhero movie. Might have been like an animated Batman movie or something.
Pretty sure I went to sleep.
No. But we ate, chilled out, watched some shows, watched some TV, and
I got another headache that night.
Yeah. She just rested as much as she can. I just took care of everything in the house, the dogs, Which
I felt really bad about, because we have some wild dogs.
Yeah. We've got some wild ones.
We had 2 then, but...
Yeah.
No, we had 3, because she went to daycare that day.
Did she? Yeah. No, she did. Yeah, she went to daycare. Because she's going to turn 2 in June. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, I took care of what I needed to take care of. Let her sleep, rested off. And then, as they went through and processed those eggs, again, we had 42 to start. 19 that could be actually inseminated. I did have to give them a sample, so that way they had what they needed to do that part. Of the 19 that they inseminated or fertilized, 9 of them were made it past the 5 days. Like, they were actually growing and starting the process. So those 9 we sent out to... Or no, actually, it was 13. We sent out 13. It was 13 eggs that made it past the 5 days. Those 13 eggs, we decided to go ahead and have them genetically tested. So we sent those off to have them genetic tested to make sure there weren't any extra or missing chromosomes in any of those. Of the 13 that we sent out, and that was like, I think $8,000.
This whole process is so expensive.
Yeah. At the time, we were doing well.
To be able to start.
Yeah, we were doing well at the start of the process. We're making money and taking care of what we need to take care of.
I think it helped that we were older, so we hadn't.
So of the 13 we sent out for genetic testing, that were actually able to get fertilized, we had 9 that actually came back as good specimens to actually use in transfer. We had a total of 9 that were good. 2 of those did have I think one of them had an extra chromosome, and one of them was missing a chromosome, so we did not actually end up using those. What we ended up using were the other 7 that remained. Of the 7 that remained, we had 3 that were girls and 4 that were boys. So we ended up trying a girl first.
Boy first.
Yeah, I thought we did a girl, boy, girl.
We did boy, girl, girl.
Did we do boy, girl,
Because the boy
girl?
didn't take, the girl did. And so we did another girl just because that seemed to be...
Yeah. So we had 7 good ones. We did a boy on the first try. Again, we had just a lot of stress, a lot of different stuff, a lot of different things that were affecting those. But then...
I sliced my finger open.
Yeah. She had her finger sliced up. And we had a lot of stuff happen. And we'll go over that a little more in detail when we go over the actual transfer process and that whole thing. But as far as the retrieval, we did have 7 clean, what they call AAA eggs that were fertilized, usable, and came back. And, we were able to use one of them and have the little one that you saw a little bit ago. She's over in the swing now, having a ball, just staring at herself in a little mirror. But yeah, so we did have that. That part, I mean, the retrieval, other than...
From a guy's perspective.
Yeah, just giving her the injections. Again, I'm an empathetic kind of person. So having to basically stab her in the leg and the hip and the arm and wherever, I forgot where I had to give you all the...
Most of them are the belly. I think the Lupron was a muscle, I think.
Yeah. I had to give her a lot of injections, and I did not like that part of it. I think most of those were sub-Q, though. But, having to go and basically mix up all these meds. And what was cool, I thought it was really cool, that she had a whole toolbox put together that had all the meds in it and had all the syringes and everything. The bag of meds that we got in, I was kind of flabbergasted at.
Put a picture of that in.
It was, if I've got, I'll have to find that picture.
Picture.
You've got a picture. It's a huge, it's like a garbage bag full of meds. I was like, what are we doing with all this? Like, yeah. But, no, all those, I mean, they ended up giving us what we needed. She had 42 full-grown solid follicles that met the size requirement. That was what it was. They just had to meet a certain size requirement. Of the 42, that's when like the 19 came out that we could actually use to fertilize. But to have 42 of those things meet the size requirement was pretty impressive. I mean, a lot of the videos of the people that she watches, I watched myself, and they just did not have results like that. And for us being an advanced couple, close to 40-something, I was 40-something, she was close to hitting it. To have that kind of result and those kind of, just those kind of results, I was kind of amazed at. I really was. I did not like doing all those medications.
I just felt bad because I think I felt so sick, and I wasn't super emotional. Hopefully, was I?
Not too bad. I mean, you weren't emotional, but you were just not, you just didn't feel good constantly. And, me as a guy, a lot of guys out there know what I mean when I say that I tried to do everything I could to make her feel better. Not everything worked out all the time. Some of the stuff worked out. Some of it, there was nothing I could do to touch some of those headaches she had. And I just felt completely useless. I was like, there's nothing I can do. Like, there's no amount of, like, Tylenol and ibuprofen and ice packs and heat,
Except that you did, there were so many times that I would lay on the bathroom floor just because I felt really bad, and you would bring me something to drink, you bring blankets.
Yeah.
So you made food and eat.
Yeah. I tried to keep her fed with, fresh veggies, meats. Tried to keep her fed with as much clean food as I could. Kept her hydrated. Was that when you started the Vesitol?
It might have been.
I think it was about the time she started Ovazitol, and basically
it was IUI. I think I started the Ovazitol. Ma'am,
did you
just came here and burped in our face.
the ChaoticBeagle here? No, you're gonna have to take it because you're gonna knock my camera over if I throw that, and I'm not having that. Miss,
ma'am,
miss, go sit. Go on, go. Again, she was a puppy at the time, and just a handful, but dropped her off at daycare whenever we had to. But no, I mean, it was as far as a lot of those, it was just rough having to give you all those injections, the trigger shots for the early part of it,
dealing with all my tears.
Yeah, dealing with all the headache, the pain, unpleasantness, especially for retrieval. You know, she's basically increasing in size to where she looks and feels like she's pregnant.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, you could see just a lot of increased size and bloating in her abdominal area because she's got a bunch of egg follicles that are just growing in size, like they're prepping to just mosh pit their way down the ovarian, the uterus, down to the uterus. So
mosh pit.
I mean, I'm saying, but no, it wasn't fun. I did not like seeing her nauseous and headache and just body aches and just all the stuff that was going on. It was not fun. It was not fun to see her go through all that and not be able to do something. A lot of guys out there know what I mean when I say you kind of feel useless because there is nothing we can do when you want to do something. I wanted to jump up and just reach in and be like, hey, stop making my wife feel bad, and there was just nothing I could do, and I hated it. And honestly, I kind of felt, it was kind of a weird feeling too because I'm the one that's giving her all these meds to progress this process so that we can... Little one's going off in the background there. But yeah, I didn't feel good about it. You want to grab her?
I do.
Yeah. I'm giving her the meds that are causing this to happen, and there's nothing I can do to fix it on the other end. So, but I mean, I'm glad that we did go through this process the way we did, and I think the biggest thing was I was relieved to know that we had so many usable eggs at the end that were actually fertilized that we could actually do transfers with. We have currently 4 remaining. Again, we used 3 out of the 7. We have 4 of them currently in cryo. Those 4 are currently cryogenically frozen until we need them for future transfers. Poor baby. But right now, that's kind of where we're at on that end. Retrieval was probably a rough one at the time. We really did not even know the full rough picture of what we were about to go through when we actually started doing the transfer. So yeah, that one was
I thought physically the retrieval was the worst part.
Yes.
Emotionally, the transfer was definitely
the transfer was much worse on that end. Retrieval, not so bad, but it was just giving you all those and knowing that it's causing
physically,
all those, the bloating and the discomfort and everything like that.
IUIs and
retrieval was physically a rough part. Transfer is going to be a whole nother deal. So,
stay tuned.
Yes, please come back for more. We're going to talk about transfers next, and then we'll do each of the trimesters. So, thank you all for joining us today. I am Chaos with ChaoticBeagle Entertainment. Mrs. Chaos, Baby Chaos here, all joining. So, thank you all for joining us. If you like this video, please do like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified when we do the rest of these. Otherwise, you all have a happy, safe, and fun week. We will see you all in the next videos. Thank you guys again for hanging out and stopping by.
Bye.
Bye.